Picture this: the endless, sun-blasted plains of Mesopotamia, June 53 BC. 40,000 Roman soldiers, hardened legionaries in gleaming bronze helmets and iron larica, their eagle standards thrusting skyward like defiant spears, trudge forward under a sky that feels like a furnace lid slamming shut. At their head rides Marcus Licinius Crassus, Rome's richest man, a silver-haired schemer whose coffers could buy kingdoms, his eyes locked on the eastern mirage of untold gold and glory. They've crossed the mighty Euphrates, leaving the empire's safe cradle for the wild heart of Asia, dreaming of sacking cities fat with Silk Road treasures. But as the heat warps the air, a low rumble shakes the earth, not thunder but hooves. From swirling dust storms erupt 10,000 Parthian riders, veiled phantoms on swift steppe ponies, bows drawn like scythes of death, their silk banners whipping like vengeful spirits. No clash of shields, no roar of infantry charges, just a whirlwind of arrows blotting the sun, a feigned flight that lures the lions into slaughter, and by dusk, 20,000 Romans lie broken in the sand. Their invincible generals head a grotesque trophy at an enemy's wedding feast. Greed, betrayal, or the unyielding fury of the horse lords. This is the Battle of Carrhae, the day Asian nomads turned Rome's thunder to whispers, a cataclysm that scarred empires and birthed legends of cursed gold. For over 2,000 years, it's haunted historians, archaeologists, and armchair tacticians alike. Welcome to Dark History Files, where we claw through the dust of forgotten wars to unearth the blood-soaked truths beneath. Saddle up, the steppe doesn't forgive the proud. Let's charge into the fray. To unravel this desert apocalypse, we must first saddle our own mounts and gallop back to the viper's nest of the late Roman Republic, a world where ambition was sharper than any gladius. It was the age of the First Triumvirate, an unholy alliance of three titans who carved the Mediterranean like a holiday roast. Julius Caesar, the slick orator fresh from butchering Gaul's tribes. Pompey the Great, the pirate crusher whose eastern campaigns had stuffed Rome's coffers with Mithridate's ransom. And Marcus Licinius Crassus, the shadowy financier, a man so wealthy he owned half of Rome's rooftops and half its senators' debts. Crassus wasn't born to the purple. He was a self-made monster, rising from Sulla's proscriptions by snapping up confiscated estates at fire sale prices. Remember Spartacus, that Thracian gladiator who sparked a slave revolt that scorched Italy for 2 years. Crassus ended it in 71 BC, crucifying 6,000 rebels along the Appian Way, a human highway of agony that stretched from Capua to Rome, their groans a warning to the lowly. But glory, that eluded him. Caesar got the triumphs, Pompey the laurels. At 60, with crow's feet etching his avarice, Crassus hungered for a war to etch his name in eternity. His gaze turned east, to Parthia, the sprawling Iranian empire that straddled the cradle of civilization like a watchful sphinx, from the Tigris marshes to the Hindu Kush peaks. Parthia wasn't some ragged horde of tent dwellers. Oh no, it was a nomad symphony of savagery and splendor, forged in the aftershocks of Alexander the Great's conquests. In 247 BC, as Alexander's Greek successors, the Seleucids, stumbled drunk on power, a tribe of Scythian horsemen called the Parni seized the reins. Led by the cunning Arsaces I, they toppled the Greek satraps, claiming the old Persian throne and dubbing their realm the Arsacid Empire. Parthia bloomed into a crossroads colossus. Zoroastrian fire temples flickered beside Buddhist shrines smuggled from Bactria, while camel caravans groaned under silk bolts from Chang'an, ivory from India, and lapis lazuli from Afghan mines. Their kings, Orodes II among them, ruled from marble halls in Ctesiphon, blending Persian pomp with steppe grit. But Parthia's soul thrummed in its warriors, the Asabara, light horse archers who could loose 10 arrows a minute from composite bows of horn, wood, and sinew, pivoting mid-gallop to fire the dreaded Parthian shot, a backward hail that turned flight into fatality. And the cataphracts, elite shock troops armored head to hoof in interlocking fish-scale plates of iron and bronze, man and mount a thundering apparition, lances leveled like lightning from Zeus himself. These weren't mere fighters. They were the steppe symphony, untouchable on open ground, guardians of the Silk Road's golden vein. By 53 BC, Orodes II lounged in his palaces, wetting his son in a blur of roasted gazelle and honeyed wine, oblivious at first to the Roman serpent slithering across his borders. Crassus, blind to omens, a sacred horse balking at the Euphrates, an eagle plummeting from the sky mustered his host at Brundisium. 7 crack legions, 35,000 heavy infantry, shields bossed like turtle shells, 4,000 cavalry, a motley of Gauls and Thracians, more brawlers than riders, and 4,000 archers, mostly unreliable Syrians eyeing the pay. His son Publius, a dashing 27-year-old with his father's fire but none of the caution, rode as legate, dreaming of shared spoils. "We'll drown Seleucia in gold," Crassus vowed, his voice a rasp over the tramp of hobnailed boots. They forded the Euphrates at Zeugma under a harvest moon, a city of soothsayers who muttered of ill winds. Armenian allies King Artavasdes, a fox in diadem, offered safe mountain passes through Media Atropatene, but Crassus spurned them, scorning barbarian trails. Instead, he plunged south into the desert toward Carrhae, a Parthian frontier fort near sacred Haran, where Abraham once gazed at stars. The plain stretched like a god's discarded shield, flat, waterless, baked to cracking under a 100-degree blaze. Scouts spied dust plumes, Orodes' banners, but Crassus waved them off. The legions fear no shadow. Word raced on falcon wings to Orodes' feast. The Roman wolf bears teeth. The king dispatched his kinsman Shorna, 30-year-old scion of the noble Shorn clan, a poet warrior with a mind like a falcon's dive and a heart of tempered steel. Shorna commanded a phantom force, 9,000 horse archers, lithe as reeds on steppe-bred ponies, 1,000 cataphracts, behemoths in full plate. No foot soldiers to slow the dance, just a herd of baggage camels chained in a vast circle, quivers stacked like harvest sheaves, ready to rain death from a mobile fortress. Shorna knew the ground as his blood knew the bowstring. Carrhae's plain, a sun-scorched anvil where heavy iron melted and swift wind prevailed. His plan, the steppe's eternal waltz, hairy, faint, encircle, exhaust. "Let them chase ghosts," he murmured to his captains, "and wake to arrows." June 9 dawned like a fever dream, the air thick with the tang of sweat and oiled leather. Crassus arrayed his legions in a massive hollow square, shields interlocked in the testudo formation, a crawling fortress of wood and will against the void. The horizon rippled, then a tremor. Parthian kettle drums boomed like thunder gods at war, silver horns wailed across the wastes. From the east exploded Shurna's storm. Riders in swirling veils, banners of crimson silk snapping like whips, hooves churning sand to gold-flecked fog. The first volley arched high, a black blizzard of death, composite bows humming their dirge. Arrows punched through bronze greaves, splintered pila shafts, found eyes and throats in the gaps. 10 per minute, relentless as monsoon rain. Romans bellowed, forming wedges to charge, but the horse lords melted away, galloping circles, loosing Parthian shots over shoulders, laughter lost in the wind. They're fleeing the silk-clad curves. A centurion roared, blood bubbling from his punctured lung. The bait took. Publius Crassus, flame-haired and furious, spurred his Gallic horse wing a full mile into the haze, 5,000 riders thundering after phantoms. Shurna's jaws clamped. From concealed dunes erupted the cataphracts, a iron tide, lances lowered, barded mounts snorting steam. They smashed into Publius' flank like Poseidon's hammer, scale armor shrugging off desperate sword strokes, hooves pulverizing the fallen. Publius fought like a demon, his blade a blur, but an arrow felled his mount. A lance pierced his guard. Dragged from the crush, he gasped defiance, then silence. His head, severed clean, spiked on a spear, paraded before the Roman lines on a galloping herald. Crassus atop his white charger stared in horror, the world tilting. "My son, my blood," he whispered, as wails rippled through the ranks. The legions contracted, a ragged donut of steel now 20,000 strong, pinned in the killing ground. Shurna's archers wove tighter spirals, arrows blotting the sun. 30,000 shafts by eventide, ancient tallies claim, each a whisper of the steppes' wrath. Thirst clawed throats raw, wounds festered in the heat's embrace. Night cloaked the field in mercy's shadow, but Parthian bonfires mocked from afar, chants drifting like ghosts. Eagles clipped, wolves chained. Dawn's parley came stained with desperation. Crassus, hollow-eyed, dispatched his quaestor Cassius, sharp as a stiletto, the man who'd one day whisper to Brutus, under truce banners of olive and white. Shurna, magnanimous in triumph, invited the general to a mud-brick village parley, ewers of cool water promised as lure. But the steppe brooks no trust. Lured into a dim hall scented with myrrh and treachery, Crassus sipped proffered wine poison, some scribes hiss. Accounts tangle like Gordian knots. Plutarch swears they slit his throat mid-plea for peace. Dio whispers of molten gold poured down his gullet, a scalding jest on his lifelong greed, his screams bubbling to silence. His head, gilded in mockery, rushed to Orodes' wedding. There, in a farce of Euripides' Bacchae, it propped as megabusiness, actors pouring treasure from its gaping maw while revelers roared. The hands, nailed to a cross by the road, fingers curled as if clutching phantom coins. Survivors. 10,000 marched east in chains to span the Euphrates with a bridge of Roman backs. The rest scattered west, eagles abandoned, spirits flayed. Cassius led the flight, his bitterness a seed for civil war's harvest. Carrie's phantoms still ride the winds of debate, 2 millennia on, a puzzle of hubris and hexes that no spade has fully buried. Roman annalists like Plutarch brand Crassus nemesis, plaything, punished for Spartacus' ghosts. Parthian coins from Nisa gloat, victory over the Western dogs. Modern digs peel deeper layers. Just this year, in October 2025, archaeologists in northwestern Iran unearthed a Parthian warrior's remains from a 2nd century BC tomb. An arrowhead lodged deep in his femur, the bone healed crooked around the barb in a testament to steppe survival. X-rays reveal he walked that wound for years, a living echo of Carrie's storm. Did he loose those very shafts, or dodge them in some forgotten skirmish? Other whispers. Climate cores from Harran confirm a megadrought turned the plain to a thirst trap, sapping Roman waterskins while Parthian wells ran deep. Tech riddles abound. Proto-stirrups on Shurna's saddles, cribbed from Asian nomads, letting cataphracts lean into charges like avenging angels. And the shadows, Armenian spies whispering roots to Shurna, or Zoroastrian priests invoking Ahura Mazda's arrow hail in fire rituals. 2025 spectral scans of Parthian talismans hint at such curses etched in lapis. Shurna's epilogue, beheaded by Orodes' jealousy months later, his genius swallowed by palace intrigue. Carrie wasn't empire's death knell, but its deep scar. Rome reeled for generations, Antony's vengeful forays fizzling in Parthian dust, birthing a Silk Road truce where Roman glass mingled with Persian pearls. What if Crassus had heeded the omens, taken the mountains? A Eurasian juggernaut, legions galloping to the Ganges under hybrid banners. Instead, the horse lords humbled the world-eater, proving the steppes whisper louder than the forum's roar. The Parthians gallop on in our blood, a reminder that gold blinds, wind endures, and the horizon always hides teeth. What felled Crassus in the end? His vaulting greed, Shurna's steppe ballet, or the gods' cruel jest? Unleash your theory in the comments. I pore over everyone like a fresh scroll. If this desert duel set your pulse racing, thunder that like button. Rally your fellow lore lords with a share, and subscribe to Dark History Files for more thunderclaps from the ages. Africa's unyielding spears, Asia's veiled daggers, America's silent voids. Ring the bell, the next charge awaits. Thanks for riding the dust with me. Stay untamed, Saga Weaver. Hooves echo eternal.